I am really excited about today's guest on the Biz Talk, Karen Huneke from Minnesota. She's a young nails mentor for many, many years, and I can't wait to get into her journey, what she's been through in building her clientele and her success as a modern nail artist right now on the Biz Talk. Okay, so I am super excited to have Karen on the Biz Talk today because I realized something about 10 minutes ago, is that I've known Karen for a very long time, but I have no idea. I've been saying her last name wrong.
He's at least gotten it close, but
yeah. For like 10 years, I think. I think we've known each other like 10 years, right? Yeah. I've been saying her freaking name wrong. So Karen Huneke, she's from Minnesota. I apologize, Karen.
Thank you.
Am I forgiven?
You're forgiven.
Okay.
I keep saying she's from Wisconsin, so
That's Minnesota.
Yes.
Minnesota.
Yes. Karen, I'm interested to always bring some kind of value to nail technicians, especially ones that are having some kind of struggle. There's a lot of techs in our industry, right? Mm-hmm. It's a tough industry, and there's a lot that are struggling out there in building a clientele. First of all, so I want to talk about all that today, but first of all, how did you get into the nail business?
I actually kind of got into the nail business kind of on accident. I was going to school, going to college, started working as a receptionist at a salon, and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed working with the people. I enjoyed
the environment,
the customers. But I was still going to school. I figured that's what I was going to do the rest of my life.
What were you going to school for?
Psychology.
Oh, Lord.
So it kind of fits in.
Yeah. No wonder you like him. He's
terrified.
A huge case right there.
Yeah. This is why I stick around, because I have so many different things going through my head.
Please help.
Trying to figure everybody out here. But yeah, so I was working as a receptionist, and I really enjoyed it. I finished school, still had no idea what I wanted to do. I had no idea where I wanted to go, or I honestly, I went to school because that's what everybody said you have to do after high school. You go to college and you'll figure it out.
Right.
Well, at that point, I still hadn't figured it out. So I was working as the receptionist part-time, and then I was also working for a temp agency part-time just to pay the bills.
Sure.
And working at the salon, I always kind of played around with my own nails and, did my own designs and whatever.
Yeah, you like it. You
yeah,
liked it,
yeah.
right.
And so I thought, okay, I'm gonna go back to school, do nails. It's a 3-month course. I can handle that.
Sure.
Go back to school, do nails until I figure out what I really want to do.
Yeah.
And my
What
parents
do I want to
said,
be?
really, you're gonna, after 4 years of college, you have a degree, and now you're gonna go do nails. I said, well, I'll figure it out.
Right.
And so 18 years later, I'm still figuring it out, but I think I'm where I'm supposed to be.
One day when you grow up, you'll figure it out.
When I grow up,
Yeah.
exactly.
So obviously you discovered pretty quickly that you love nails.
Absolutely.
It's your passion.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you went to school, you finished, you got licensed. Talk about how did you get into a salon? Was it booth rent? Was it commission? What was the deal?
Actually, so the salon that I was working at as a receptionist, they said, we'll hire you back and you can come work for us.
Now,
And
did they have, was it hair, skin?
it was full hair, skin, nails, massage, barber.
Oh,
Everything.
Everything.
Full
and
service.
We had one other nail tech who she had just gone to school, so she was fairly new at it. But
Was it booth rent? It was booth rent.
No, it was actually, I made an hourly wage.
Oh.
Yeah, I know for sure I had an hourly wage, and then my tips, of course. But yeah, I was an employee.
Okay.
They made my schedule and told me when I could come and go. And
sure.
At that point, I didn't mind.
Right.
I was new. I was fresh.
Getting used to it.
It's actually
young
kind
and
of
dumb.
a nice way to enter in,
yeah,
right?
it
Where
is.
you can work on your skills and not have to worry. It's
not that pressure.
Yeah. So that's good.
Yeah, so it was nice to have that hourly wage that I was guaranteed as long as I showed up to work.
Yeah,
sure.
I made what I made.
It's an important step.
Yeah.
So that basically the salon was responsible for bringing in and marketing and bringing in clients ultimately, correct?
And because it was big enough, there were enough people that were coming in.
Got it.
I could get some, good clientele
Sure.
over time.
How long were you at that salon?
That one, I was there about 2.5 years.
Okay.
And I was in the college town that I lived in.
Sure.
And then I ended up moving back home, and so I kind of had to restart there
So
again.
when you moved back home and you restarted, so that good experience, 2.5 years, you moved back home. Now, what salon are you going into? Is it booth rent? Is it commission? What's the deal
This
there?
one was, let me think. That one was, I think that was commission.
Okay.
Now, were you close enough where the clients you had followed
No.
you? Okay.
No. So it
start
was
over.
start
So
over.
you're starting
I've
over.
started over several times now.
Yes.
But so that one, that one was commission and tips and all that. That one was a bigger salon and spa, and I thought that I wanted to go into that kind of a area because it was calm, it was quiet. I figured they have a lot of clientele coming through. But with that, I actually got bored.
Okay.
I wasn't doing a lot of the fun design. I wasn't doing. I was doing pink and whites, which are fine, but I can't do pink and whites.
It's
all
very
day.
spa-like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so you were there for how long at that salon?
I honestly, I don't even remember. Maybe a year.
Okay.
And then after that, I actually contacted my instructor from school, and she was teaching at another school. And she said, well, come take a look at our school, and if you want to come teach for us, you're welcome to come teach for us.
Very cool.
And
Nice.
so that's kind of how I got into teaching.
Okay.
And 6 years of teaching, I discovered that I love teaching. I
Yeah.
love to be able to share, because I struggled when I started.
Right.
I didn't really have anybody there to kind of guide me along. Like I said, in my first salon, the other nail tech, she was new too. So I didn't really have mentors or anything in my area.
Sure.
But then, through teaching, I discovered that anything that I can share,
Right.
I am so happy to share. I am so happy to just, I'll blurt out anything
Yeah.
that you want to know. And
No, that's great.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it that actually makes a lot of sense. I did not know that you taught for 6 years. So after teaching students, where did you end up?
And so after that, I said, I'm just going to move to Vegas for a year.
I remember
I'm
this.
I remember it was so like I'm sure it wasn't random, but it was like Karen's moving to Vegas. Like
It was
just
something
like,
that I
wow.
joked about with my friends
Yeah.
for a long, long time. And then
Pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The opportunity, I was unemployed at the time, so I was like, I might as well just do it. And
Okay.
it worked out.
So I remember that. I remember when you moved to Vegas, and this is probably around the time when we started. I think we somewhat. It was a little bit before we started working with you, but I remember your transition.
It was right in the transition. I came out to qualification just as I had gotten laid off.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So in Vegas, what was the situation there? You moved into a salon. You had a salon. You didn't know
I
nothing.
knew nobody.
Zero.
I knew no person,
No family, no
no
friends.
friends, no nothing.
Wow.
Fortunately,
How fun though.
Yeah, it is
I
fun.
wish I didn't know anybody.
Yeah.
Move to Vegas.
Moved to Vegas.
You know people.
Yeah.
I knew literally one person,
Yeah.
and that was G, who used to be an
remember.
educator with us.
I remember.
Okay.
And she introduced me to the salon owner
Okay.
of the first salon that I worked at. And thank God for her, because otherwise I had no idea where to even look. You
Sure.
know?
Right.
I mean, I'm in a
It's
new
a
city.
huge
I've
place.
never been there, know nobody. And so she kind of gave me a little guidance.
Awesome.
So
And that salon, is that commission? Was it booth rent? What was the
that
situation?
was booth rent.
Okay.
That was booth rent.
So this is interesting. So like your trajectory was starting off commission. And commission's great. I think it's a great way to kind of maybe enter into the market,
Dip your toe
especially
in.
dip your toe in, because you don't really have to think about the sort of the business building part. You're more focused on like the nails and executing. So that's awesome. You go to teaching, you move to Vegas, and now you're booth renting. So now you've got your own business, and now you've got to build your clientele. What was that experience like in the beginning? Like, how did that go?
I'm not going to lie. It was hard.
Yeah.
It was hard because it was the first time I ever had my own business.
Right.
Like, I was completely on my own. I had to make all my decisions.
Overhead,
pay for
everything.
Product, rent, everything. So basically what I did, I sat down and I figured out my monthly expenses. So every single thing that I would have to pay for.
Right.
how much did I have to bring in per hour or per day? I think I did per day to at least make ends meet.
Sure.
And I talked to everybody that walked into that salon. It was a pretty good sized salon. I think there were probably 8 stylists at the time.
So hair, nails, full.
Yep. I was the only nail tech.
Oh, okay.
So that's
a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got all the clients, but I made friends with all the other stylists, did their nails. I actually did their nails for free. I said the first time.
First one's free.
First one's on me. Give them their crack
so
and
smart,
get them addicted.
How many people do they say in a day? Like,
exactly.
That's just
exactly.
great.
It's really
advertisement.
smart. Yeah. Super smart marketing there. Yeah.
And honestly, that's where the majority of my clients came from, was referrals from the stylists.
Perfect.
So great strategy. You pop in, you're under pressure. You decide to make the decision, I'm going to do all the stylists for free, get just to get get the exposure. And you did. It seemed to be working. So like how quick was that to where you started to like how many clients did that maybe get you?
Oh geez, I don't even. I would say within a year, I was getting comfortable.
Okay.
I wasn't making the good money. I was comfortable. I was paying my bills.
Yeah.
I was
not
able
stressing
to afford.
so much. Yeah.
So outside of that, like what did you have to do to build clientele? Like, I mean, that's 1 year. You put in a strategy, you start doing the nails of these stylists. Their clients are coming in, but there's 8 stylists, right? And so that's going to bring you some clientele, but it took a year to just even start to get comfortable. What was that like? Like that's a grind.
It is, and I think that's where there's a big misconception in this business is that people think, oh, I'm going to get my nail license, I'm going to come into the salon, I'm going to get all these clients just flocking towards me.
Yeah.
And it couldn't be farther from the truth.
Right.
You have to put in the hours. You have to talk to people. You have to promote yourself like crazy. I mean, I and still to this day, I carry my business cards around me. I always have my nails done so that when people see my nails, it's like, oh, well, who does your nails? I do. When would you like to come in?
Right.
And then once I get the clients in my chair, then I ask them to refer their friends.
Right.
Which honestly, I feel like the work just kind of does that for me.
Sure.
Because, their friends see their nails and they like them. And who did your nails?
Who did your nails? Yeah.
Sure. So it's because you were in Vegas for how long?
Almost 8 years.
Yeah.
How long were you planning on being in Vegas?
A year.
She had a year goal. That was it.
I had the goal. And then every year I was like, well, maybe one more year. Because I'm starting to build more clientele. I'm starting to meet people and get people in. And it started getting to be a lot more fun.
Right.
Because it wasn't so stressful.
Right. So then so your business is starting to build, and you're growing. So how long did it take to where you had a full clientele in Vegas and you were like, okay, this is I have a good business going here?
Vegas is actually it's a different market because it's very transient.
Sure.
There's always people coming and going.
In and out, right.
And I even the day that I left, I never said that I was fully booked because I always somehow had room to move somebody in.
Sure.
And with people's different work schedules out there, different things change. It's a 24-hour town.
Yeah.
And so, but I mean, probably by 2 years, I was feeling...
You were good.
Yeah, I was feeling good.
So you had a good, a pretty stable, solid business going. It's very, to me, it's very interesting that, our business, Young Nails, right? People could say, well, you're comfortable and you have this business going. And you know what, though? I never really actually feel comfortable.
Yeah.
I don't. It's always very similar to your clients. You built a nice stable business in Vegas after a couple years, but there's always room. There's always I can fit somebody in and I have that same perspective here. We can do more, or I don't want to let my foot off the gas with this business.
Right,
and I feel it's very similar in you had your bit, they're both businesses, right? You got to keep aggressive.
Yeah, and I feel that's very true. I think with any business, if you just keep doing the same thing over and over and over, that's where the boredom comes in. That's where the burnout comes in.
Yep.
That's why I feel like some people don't have a lifetime career in nails because they don't take new classes. They don't learn new techniques. And this industry, it's changing literally every day.
Constantly.
There's
They're
always
never
something.
challenging themselves, and that keeps you motivated.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
So after 8 years, I know you ended up moving back to Minnesota.
Apparently, she just likes to start clientele.
Yeah, over and
She's
over.
like, you know what? I got a
Why,
clientele.
why should I have life easy? I mean, right? I like a challenge, I guess. No.
So obviously, you didn't take your clientele with you back to Minnesota. So what was that like? And that brings us to today. So talk about that process of kind of starting over in a sense, right?
Well, at the point when I started over in Vegas, I literally knew nothing about running my business.
Right.
And I think that was probably the hardest challenge.
Sure.
Building a clientele, that's one thing, but knowing how to save your money, where to spend your money, where to not spend your money.
Right.
I think that was a challenge. But now, coming back to Minnesota, I had that experience.
Right.
I knew what to do. I knew how to build my clientele. I knew how much I wanted to spend on rent, how much I didn't, how much, where I wanted to be, what kind of clientele I wanted to have. And just those 8 years of experience in Vegas just made it that much easier.
That's huge.
So I've been back in Minnesota now for just over, maybe almost a year and a half now. And at this point, I'm about 2 weeks booked out.
Wow.
So
Did you go? You went into a suite.
I went into a suite.
Nice.
Yep. So rent is a little bit more expensive.
Right.
But for me, that's exactly what I needed. I needed somewhere where I could come and go 24/7. I don't want to come in at 3 a.m., but if I need to, I can.
Right.
Do exactly what I need to do, not have to answer to anybody, not have anybody tell me what to do, when to do. So, yeah.
And
awesome.
So that's huge. Like that span of coming back. So you come back from Vegas in Minnesota, and it's 18 months, and it's like you're pretty stacked, right? Mm-hmm. So obviously you took your experience. You did know what to do.
Yeah.
And how are you feeling about your business today? Like with everything that you've been through, how do you feel about your business today?
I always feel like there's always room to grow. There's always room to improve. And I'm always thinking, okay, what else can I do? What can I do better?
Right.
What can I learn?
Right.
What class can I take? What technique can I practice? And so even if I do have my downtime, that's what I'm working on.
I love that. I love that. And it's no different for us here at Young Nails. It is constantly on the aggressive of like, what can we do? How can we improve? New products, new techniques, new content.
Keeping up with the clients, right?
Yeah.
Customers and clients. Like if you get so stuck in one way of doing something, things are constantly changing. And I've seen it, like you said, these techs who don't continue their education, and all of a sudden they're like, well, where'd the clients go? And it's like, well, you're not doing what clients are wanting now.
You got to keep up.
You got to keep up.
Yeah.
Well, if I get bored, obviously they're going to get bored.
It's a problem. Yeah.
Most people don't want the same pink and white nails every 2 weeks.
Exactly.
Some do,
Right.
but they like change. They like to see, when we go work shows, what do I come back with?
Right.
What is our new product? What is our
They
new,
get excited about
they
it,
do.
right?
Of course.
Did the place you went, the suites, is it hair around you?
It's
like
everything.
So you're able to market a little bit
and
with
that
them.
same thing with them. I did everybody's one time for free.
Nice.
And
So
actually
smart.
now, probably half of my clientele are the girls at the salon.
That's amazing.
So
Very cool.
It's very smart, and it's logical, and it's what everybody should do. Karen, if there is one piece of advice that you could give somebody in the industry, either just starting out or struggling, what would that be?
I'm actually going to say two things.
Okay.
One is don't give up. It's not easy. You're going to have to put in the work, but put in the work and it's all going to be worth it. Second, find mentors, find people that you look up to, find people that have been in the business that are successful.
Right.
Don't find a mentor that's struggling just like you are. I mean, find somebody who's successful, who can help you, who can teach you. Just find as many as you can. It doesn't have to just be one person. Just find as many people that can help you along the way.
I absolutely love that advice. I think 100% that you really should take it, especially from somebody that's been through it and has found success at the end. So great advice from our modern nail artist for today, Karen. Thank you, Karen Huneke. Thank you very much for taking the time and spending with us.
Absolutely.
Very much appreciated. And we appreciate you joining us and taking the time. And we will see you next week on the Biz Talk.